Hi Hans, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Meg and I am a flight attendant for a UK airline, and every month I post roster reveals to let you all know where I'm going to be flying to for the following month. So that's what today's video is going to be. It's going to be my October roster reveal. About the bare face, I could not be bothered with makeup today. I've had the last few days have been days where I've had to wear makeup, because I've been going out or whatever, and I felt like I just needed a skin break today. And also I'm going to Orlando tomorrow. It's my end of September trip, which you'll know about if you watch my September roster reveal. So I'll be wearing makeup for that and I'll be flying, so I thought I'll just give my skin a break for today. October's roster reveal, I'm not going to lie, it might be quite quick, this whole video in general, because I only have 2 trips at present in October, but you will find out why when I actually explain the full roster. So let's just get into it. So let's start, as I always do, by telling you what I bid for the month. Now, I did actually place quite a lot of bids for October, which I've since learned it's not good to place a lot of bids because it kind of overwhelms the system. So in future, I won't place this many bids, but for now, I did. How many did I place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 bids. So the first one was for weekends off. This is a generic bid that I kind of do every month, just for reasons of it's quite nice to have my weekends off with my boyfriend because he works Monday to Friday, and sometimes if I go on a long haul trip during the week, which I very often do, especially at the moment, literally every week in September I've been away for at least 3 or 4 days every week. It is nice to have my weekends off with him. My second bid was to avoid there and back. You guys know I'm from EasyJet. I've done 2 years worth of there and backs. As much as it's nice sometimes to just go and do a quick there and back and be home at the end of the day, I don't want to do them consistently, so I bid to avoid those. And then my next 3 bids are kind of all within the same bracket, if that makes sense. Basically, I've heard that if you want a specific trip, you should make lots of different bids that kind of want the same thing, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm explaining this very well, but essentially, as I did in September, I wanted to do a Singapore-Sydney. It's the longest trip that we do at my airline. I would really love to visit Singapore and Australia, and it's just a trip that I would really love to do. So I bid for Sydney, obviously that's the most obvious one. I also bid for Australia. Sydney is the only destination we fly to in Australia, so that kind of covers that. And then I also bid for a flight number for a Singapore-Sydney that is going. And the reason I did the flight number is because I've heard that you're more likely to get trips if you bid for the flight number, but also on this specific day that it was going, I thought might be a good day for me to go. So that's why I bid for that flight number. And then my last 4 bids were kind of just, again, destinations that I want to go to but don't necessarily want over a Singapore-Sydney, so I put them at the bottom. So I bid for the Caribbean. Again, I've been bidding for it every month since I joined. I really want to go to the Caribbean. That's it. South Africa, another destination I'd really love to go to. It's a very bidded for destination and everyone loves South Africa, so I don't think I'm going to get it, but I thought I'll bid for it anyway. And then I also bid for a Boston. A lot of people have said that Boston's a really cool trip, so I would love to go there. And then I also bid for a JFK. I've already been to New York before, but I said in my last vlog that I would go back when it's a little bit cooler, so I bid for a New York. And also my annual leave is the reason why I bid for the Singapore-Sydney on a certain day, because I thought if I've just had loads of annual leave, they're quite likely to give me quite a long trip, surely. That was my thinking anyway. So that's why I bid for it on a certain date. So those are my bids. Let's find out if I achieved any of them, shall we? So you may have noticed that the day that this roster is going up, we are already 2 days into October, and normally I wouldn't wait until the month to release the roster reveal. However, I do actually have 2 weeks of annual leave at the beginning of October. Oh, look, the sun's just come out. Look at that lighting. Anyway, I have 2 weeks of annual leave at the beginning of October, so I don't actually have my first flight until the 2nd week, which is why I felt like it was fine to upload my roster reveal a little bit late, because you're not missing anything. I haven't already gone on a trip that you don't yet know about. I'm literally doing nothing. well, actually that's a lie. So I have 2 weeks of annual leave, but I am still getting on a plane because I just can't stay away from planes. I am going to Mallorca for a little mini break with my mum for 4 nights. When you watch this, it will be a couple of days until I go. It was kind of a last minute thing, kind of like our Tenerife holiday was. If you haven't watched our Tenerife vlog back from when we went in May, I'll put it up here. But yeah, because I had all that time off, I was going home anyway to see my family. So my mum was like, why don't we book a holiday? So we did. I'm not gonna vlog it purely because I think we're gonna have quite a chilled holiday. Like, we're not going to do much, so it'll be quite a boring vlog, but I am going to do a TikTok kind of vlog, week in the life of my holiday sort of thing. So if you do want to see what I get up to in Mallorca, then make sure you're following me on TikTok. My user is @flywithmegs. So yeah, I'm very excited to go on holiday. I know it sounds silly because I kind of go away all the time, but there's something about it actually being like a holiday for you to not have to work the flight home or the flight back and actually be somewhere with someone that you know and not someone that you've just met. It's nice, it is different. So yeah, very excited for a little mini break in Mallorca. And then when I get back, I still have like 5 days of annual leave left, so I don't have many plans. It is mine and my boyfriend's anniversary, 4 years. So we'll probably do something cute to celebrate that. But other than that, for the remainder of my annual leave, I don't have many plans. And then finally, I get to do a flight. So my first trip of October is actually somewhere that I've been to before, and it is a 3-day JFK. So I went to New York in August. If you haven't seen that vlog, I'll put it up here. When I went in August, I had an amazing time, don't get me wrong, but it was so warm. It was like 35 degrees, and 35 degrees in a beach destination where I'm right by the sea or by a pool, I don't mind that, I can handle that. But 35 degrees in a busy city is a joke. I said in that vlog that I really wanted to go back to New York when it's a little bit cooler, so that's what I'm going to do. I don't think, and let me know if you disagree with this, but I don't think I'm going to vlog this trip to New York, purely because I'm there for a little bit of a shorter time than I was before. Also, because I've kind of recently gone, I felt like it would just be a little bit repetitive. I mean, the only thing I'm planning on doing that I didn't do last time is going to Central Park. Also, I want to bid to go back to New York in December so that I can go around Christmas time, and that I obviously will vlog because that will be amazing, really magical. Which is another reason why I don't think I'm going to vlog this trip, because then it will just be New York, New York, New York. Do you know what I mean? I will, again, vlog it on TikTok. So if you do want to get the New York content, then make sure you're following me on there. But I'm not going to do a YouTube vlog because I want to kind of save it for when I go at Christmas. Luckily, JFK is quite a common flight. There are flights all the time, so it's quite easy to get when you bid for it, which obviously I did. So I'm confident that when I bid for it again, I will get it again. So the timings for this trip are a little bit different to my last New York trip. I don't report until like the afternoon and get there quite late at night, whereas last time I got there like early afternoon. Probably still go for a nice dinner somewhere if I'm not too tired, depends really. Day 2, we don't have a clear day because it's a 3-day trip. So day 2, we do have most of the day there because we don't report until the evening. But obviously I need to bear in mind that I need to nap before my flight, because the last New York that I did, I crammed loads into the just over 24 hours that I was there, and I didn't sleep before the flight or on the flight. And by the time I got in my car to drive home the next day, it was not funny. Like, I was so tired, couldn't hold a conversation with my mum, nothing. So I am going to be aware of that this time, which is why I say that I might not vlog it, because essentially the only time that I'm really going to get to do anything is probably on day 2, like the morning and early afternoon, because I do want to get a nap in before we go back. And then we land back at Heathrow mid-morning on day 3, and then I am actually, this is another reason why I need to nap before the flight, because I'm actually going straight to a baby shower as soon as I get back, because it is my boyfriend's sister's baby shower and it starts at about 1ish, I think. I may get time to come home quickly and have a shower and change and then go, which I'm hoping, because going straight there sounds a bit gross. I then have 3 days off after that New York, which I don't know why they've given me 3 days off. I'm literally going to be sick to death of being off by this point in the month. And I then have my second and final trip of the month as it stands, and it's a new destination, guys, and it is a 3-day Boston. So again, it's another bid that I placed, although You may have noticed I keep getting my bottom bids over my top bids. Don't really know why. So I might start bidding for what I want the most as the least, so that I get it. Timings for the Boston trip are very similar to the New York, in fairness. I start and get there at a similar time, and we report pretty much at the same time as the New York on the day 2 and arrive back kind of mid-morning on day 3. Very excited to visit another US destination. A lot of people have said to me that Boston is a really cool trip, so very excited to go. If any of you have been or are from Boston or know the area, then do leave some comments down below of suggestions on things to do, because I actually don't know what's there. I've just heard that it's a cool trip, but I don't actually know what crew do while they're there. Open to suggestions as always. After my Boston, I then have 2 days off, and that is followed by a block of 3 available days. Now, you're probably sick to death of me getting available days. Don't worry, I'm sick of it too. However, in my experience, every block of available days that I've had has turned into a trip. My first block that I had in July turned into my Houston trip. I then had 2 blocks in September, which turned into a 3-day Dubai and a 4-day Riyadh. So I have faith that it will turn into something. What that's going to be, I don't know. Fingers crossed that that turns into something nice. Generally, my available days have been changing like a week or 2 weeks before. So maybe by like mid-October, by the time I go to New York, maybe it might have changed. Generally, if my roster does change while I'm on a trip, I mention it in that vlog if I'm vlogging it. If not, I will put it on my Instagram story, so make sure you are following me on there also. It's at meganrholland _. I do post a lot of updates on there in terms of my roster, and I also just post a lot of travel content on there in general. Like, I post pictures when I'm down route. I'm trying to get into doing reels as well, because I do sometimes do TikTok, so I thought I would do reels as well. Fingers crossed that turns into something. It is October half term that week as well, so I feel like it is going to turn into something. It's just a matter of what. And I then have 2 days off, and then the final 2 days of the month are another 2 available days. Now, I feel like this might be a block because it goes into November after that, so potentially it could be a bigger block and I could get given a longer trip for the beginning of November. Who knows? I get my November roster when I'm filming this in like 9 days, but when you watch this it'll only be 4 days until I get it. So hopefully they're going to fill at the beginning of November with a nice little 5-day trip potentially for me. So you see what I mean now about it being quite a quick roster. Sorry about that. But a new destination, and I'm going back to New York, and honestly I'll never get bored of New York. Like, I'll happily go to New York every month, to be honest. I loved it there. Definitely going back to the place where I had breakfast last time as well, because that was a really good breakfast. So that is the end of my October roster reveal, guys. I've decided that at the end of my videos from now on as well, I'm gonna tell you what's coming next, like what my next week's video is, if that makes sense. So next week's video is going to be my Orlando vlog, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure you are subscribed. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.